Hi Ma, good morning. Welcome back to our session. Hope you enjoyed your Sunday yesterday. Okay. Mm, Hope you understood GCSE till now. So we came to end of the first unit of GCSE. I repeat. Try to just revise the videos. Try to revise. Sitting in a class and listening the same content, it's very boring. Luckily, we have only 20 to 25 or 30 minutes of session. Okay, in a automatic way in animations, so that you can learn better. Okay, because every topic is in your hand. You can read, you can learn, you can watch anytime. Right? No. So in the last class we learned about SOA, service oriented architecture, and the supporting protocols like SOAP, WSDL, DDA, and finally what are the main major importance of the web services and the rest. Okay. Now after getting knowledge on all the protocols and concepts of SOA, now it is a time to know about how this SOA is gathering information from different resources. Different resources means the hardware, software, mobile phone, servers, clients, whatever. So whatever connected in terms of a computing system to deploy your data in terms of a cloud. So how it is going to be providing the data to you. So there is a small architecture the author given us. See what is the main theme of the SOA? The main theme of the SOA is to build grids, clouds. Grids of clouds or clouds of grids or clouds of clouds. Okay, they can be called as intra clouds also. So it is the main theme of his SOA. So if you want to form a grid, we have to connect them. If you form a cloud, we have to form a cluster. Okay, after completion of the grid, right? So after cloud, we can start your process. So this process can be working because of this SOA only. How it is working, we have to check that. Okay. Now, so in this we have a major contributions are by two people, I can say. One is the sensors, one is the filter, one is the sensors, one is for the storage. Okay, so these sensors can also be called as a filter sensors, FS we can say. Okay, FS filter sensors is there, and this sensor service also here. See, if you want to process any data, first we have to collect the input. First we have to collect the input. How to collect this? Because of the sensors only, collectively. Okay, see this. So a large number of sensors provide data collection services denoted in the figure. I will show the figure shortly. Later what is happening is these sensors can be the Zigbee device or Bluetooth device or Wi-Fi access, personal computer, GPA, wireless phone, whatever resource you are going to connect to the computer is going to be used by the sensor. Whatever data you want to upload, you want to get, that is an input. So this is taken by the computing source. It is taking that, and by taking that, it is going to filter in based upon your request. Okay. So this architecture, if you see this architecture is a very catchy architecture, ma, very catchy architecture. See, I hope you remember these words in your DBMS, database management system. We used to collect these words actually. So at that time we stopped at information, but in data mining, data warehousing, we make a move to the knowledge. See what is the raw data? Raw data, basic information, basic raw facts can be called as a raw data, where there is no connectivity from one form of fact to another form of fact. For example, one person is making a request to get my file which I stored already in the cloud. So initially he got a request. Initially these sensors got a request, but now he have to verify from where we got that request, which IP address. From that IP address, you can identify the location. From the location, you can identify or filter the number of people there. From there, you can collect about your information, your name, whatever you register, your name, your email ID, mobile phones, whatever, for what service you want. From there, you can collect all that information. From there, you can get your request finally. So later, after getting all these if it is authenticate data, he will check your details in the database. If you are authenticate person, then he will give you your data. So this is all concepts are running behind us. We don't know about of this, right? We are not aware of this, but it is happening. Right? So initially raw facts are collecting, those are gathering as a data. Later the data is going to give us information which is very useful to us to further process. From this information we are going to get the knowledge. Yeah. So here the knowledge we get by the SOE is, yeah, this person wants this information. From there you can get the wisdom. Wisdom means the experience. So experience gives a lot of work to you, a lot of effort, okay, a lot of, so that you can take a good decision, right? So here also a lot of grids are connected. See, from wherever you are, see, this is a database, it is from a camera, it is somewhere internet connectivity is there, it is somewhere a mobile is there. So lot of devices are wherever you are. See, this is some grids forming, it is a mobile phone, it is a tower, wherever you are they are going to find those. So for every component we have a sensor service is there. For every component there are sensor service is there. So sensor service is the one which takes inputs from you. After sensor data collection we have to give the data to the filter service. Yes, filtering. Okay, because many people are from different places, different requirement, different applications, different service. So we have to filter that details. So which person we have to give that which service, right? So this is in terms of discovery cloud. So in order to filter, first we have to discover cloud where from he is. We have to check that. Later every filter cloud will operate with the help of a filter service, nothing but FS. Okay, from which we can provide the output to any device connected to the cloud. So this is happening. But who is doing this? These are all doing by SOA only. Who is doing this? SOA, service owned architecture, the WSDL, the SOAP, the WS, next UDDI, finally REST for you only, for this knowledge. So we have lot of languages and protocols running behind that. Okay, we will learn about this one by one shortly. So that is about the SOA. Now, so all the SS devices interact with large or small computers. Many forms of grid databases, compute cloud, storage cloud, filter cloud. Every cloud can able to communicate with that along with us also. Right. So filter service FS in the figure are used to eliminate unwanted raw data. So whatever we don't want, just he is to verify at this particular place only for that application only. Remaining everything is scrapped to it and it will delete. Okay. Next, a collection of filter services form a filter cloud. Obviously, cloud is a collection of systems. Automatically, it is also become as a filter cloud. Next, so SOA, what is the main SOA aims here? It is going to search for sort out raw data initially. So whenever there is a request by any user, it will activate the SOA automatically. So it will start search the relevant data or required data. It is going to sort out the raw data you have been given. From there, he is trying to gather information about you, your registered detail, your application, your requirement. It is going to gathered by the SOA in terms of information. From there, he used to get the knowledge. Areva, he is asking that information. We have to give that. After that, he will check whether we can give or not. Okay, means in terms of, for example, I have paid so and so amount for 1 GB, but you have been asking 1.5 GB. Is it possible to you? So with that knowledge, he will know that, sorry, we can't give the service to him because his limit is 1 GB only. Like that, we can take decisions. See, in fact, wisdom or intelligence is sorted out of large knowledge bases. Yes. Finally, we make intelligent decisions based on both biological and machine wisdom. So whatever the decisions given by the machine, how the machine will give, you are only the writer, you are only the developer. So we got through in AI, that's artificial intelligence, based upon the semantic networks or the rules or what is propositional logic, predicate logic. So all these are applying in the computers for artificial intelligence. So based upon this, it will take a decision to give you your data, asked data, right? Now, but this is a grid and versus cloud. You can I've given lot of times what is the difference between these two. I have given the table here. Just go through table. Okay. Yes. Here, if you observe here, Underlying concept, what is the main use of the grid is utility computing, pay and use. Here also pay and use only, right? Both are. Without these two we can't develop, we can't get the service. Main benefit, solve computationally complex problems, means in terms of execution we have to collaborate many systems. How we collaborate many systems is by using connectivity only. Okay, what is the use of this cloud? Means scalability issue. Main means any number of people can join, any number of people can store, any number of people can process, any number of people can do anything, store, okay, anything based upon this only, right? Resource distribution allocation, it don't bother about this. Negotiate means performing. Of course it will perform based upon the schedulers, but it will provide pay per use only. See, the company is going to get some money from the customer. That money is going to invest because of to develop the grids. The utility computing is going to limit to cloud for us, but the same concept it is going to used by the grid only, but it is not by us directly, maybe indirectly by us. Okay, domains, multiple domains, single domain. Yes, any company can provide a single domain cloud, but all the cloud connectors are connected because of different companies' computers. A single company will not able to contribute lot of computers to maintain a cloud, but multiple companies are collaborating in terms of sharing their what is that benefit or business. Okay, we don't know about this. What we think, it is Amazon Web Services, it is a Google Cloud, it is a Microsoft Cloud, but of course the name is by one company only, but the resources are from different companies. Character or history, non-commercial, publicity funded. It is non-commercial only for us. We don't know about this. But who will you making use of this? Clouds. See, it is a commercial pure, as we used to interact directly with it. Right? So these are the basic differences of this grid and cloud. I've given the same in different presentation here. Yeah, I've given the notes here also the same, nothing but. Now we came to the last but one topic here, that is introduction to grid architecture and standards. Very easy, very easy topic it is. Okay, we know about the grid, we know about the main theme of the grid. Now we have to know about the things running for the grid formation. Okay, what is the architecture? Every architecture is in terms of layers only. Okay, so what is the layers contributing for our architecture of grid? So we are going to learn in this. See, so what is a grid? Grid is a collection of computers resources from multiple locations to reach a common goal. Of course, we used to know about this. We know about this. What is different computers are connected with each other to form a grid to share resources. Okay, the grid can be thought of as a distributed system with non-interactive workloads. F. The distributed system only. We used to interact with them. Not at all. The cloud will interact with them. The cloud is using the resources of the grid. Okay. So grid computing distinguishes from the conventional high performance computing. Yes, it is not the same as the cloud computing. Who is giving the high performance to you? Cloud only, right? But the grid is responsible for that directly? No, it is responsible indirectly by the cloud. Yes. Such as cluster computing, in the grid computers have each node set to perform differently. Yes. See, for example, in one grid we have 10 computers. 10 computers are owned by one cloud only? No. As different companies are sharing these resources, maybe in one grid 5 computers are using by one company, 5 computers are using by different company. There is a possibility. This connectivity is important for them. Right. So grid computers are tend to be heterogeneous. Of course, different computers, different configuration, system languages, OS, tools, packages, not at all same. Not at all same. In the cluster, there is a possibility. If there is no possibility, they will use virtual machines. At that time, they use virtual machines to form a layer on top of your hardware, and luckily using all your hardware resources efficiently without wasting by framing virtual machine. But here different computers are using different configurations, see, and geographically distributed, does not physically couple than cluster computers. See, they are comparing with the cluster. Although a single grid can be dedicated to a particular application, commonly a grid is used for a variety of purposes. What is it? It is not owned by a single company or one application, but they are connected each other. That's it. They can be used by multiple applications. See, I got 10 computers. Each computer have 1 GB capability. So with the collaboration, we have 10 GB. So 10 GB is going to use by WhatsApp. 10 GB is going to used by Facebook sometime, or 5 GB is going to be used by the Facebook, or 5 GB is going to be the Twitter. We don't know. We don't know about this. Okay. Grids are often constructed with general purpose grid middleware libraries. Of course, a lot of that is virtual machine. They are middleware packages. Okay, right? Grid sizes can be quite large. Any number of computers you connect. That is up to you. If you have more money, more network, yes, you can connect any number. There is no restriction for that. Yes. See this. I want to differentiate here what is a simple grid and what is a multiple grid or tough grid. A simple grid. See, we have a single management and organization. Only one organization will be there. We want to connect 100 to 1000 computers at one place. He is the owner of that. So that every computer have some CPU, their resources, they are going to sharing mechanisms. They used to interact users and the administrators. There is no deviation from that. Simple grid is just a few machines. All of them share common hardware architecture, same operating system. Previously they started the simple grid, but now it is not at all possible because the scalability we required. Okay, so this kind of grid uses homogeneous system, similar feature computers as they're going to use, right? And so this is going to owned by one department of an organization. Previous days, but not now. I repeat, in a single college, if you want to develop a grid, every department can use. Even they have any number of departments, teaching or non-teaching or any branch. So because the machines are the same architecture and operating system, choosing application as the same machines are using, same architecture will be there. It is their belief previously around 2011, 2020 how it is the same. More complex grid, see, more computers which are dispersed around the globe. It is a globe. Different countries are using, different places are using. So every country or place which is going to form a grid, they have their own management organization. Okay, a number of administrators are used, number of computers are going to use. So lot of management organizations are involving at one place to share more data, to develop more resources. So that is called as intergrid. So it can be cross organization boundaries. It is going to cross one organization. It is beyond one organization. Later it is called as, what is this name called as? Intergrid. Intermediate, if you remember the word intermediate, it is a major role playing from your schooling to higher education. Means your BTech or BSc. Because after that BSc, BTech only you will going to get place in some job. Without intermediate foundation you can't, because your maturity level will start from that after 16 years of age. So that is called as a intermediate, between. So here also intergrid. So from one organization to another organization we can use this intergrid. So what is the main use of this? Trading or brokering means, not only one company can be used, but multiple companies can use a grid. So I want to use this grid for 10 days of time. One company is saying, later 10 days I am going to use. Later 10 days I am going to use. Set by third company. Trading or brokering only, right? Sharing. Resources may be purchased as a utility from trusted suppliers. Yes. See, Amazon want to extend his cloud to some other country, but he don't have his grid. He don't have resources to place. He don't have computers. He want to buy. He will buy the computers? No. He will ask the company who is providing this grid to you. Okay. He will ask the company who is providing grid. I will pay some amount to you. Please give your grid. Okay. So take some benefit to you and give some benefit to me. That's a deal happening. That is called as a trading or brokering. So that you no need to spend more amount in computers buying. Not only computers we have to buy power supply, chiller, management, softwares. Is it easy to you to buy all this? Instead of this, if you have to spend 1000 rupees for buying all this, just to spend 200 rupees for grid. get the benefit of 100 rupees to you, 50% almost benefit is there, half of the person benefit is there, right? So that is the advantage with the grid. So main grid characteristics. These are the common features every grid should possess. The scalability issue should be large, should be dispersed geographically anywhere the grid have to provide. Different type of computers have to connect. The resource have to share. Multiple administrators, can't be owned by single company or organization. Resource coordination. Resource coordination means virtualization. No resource should be wasted. How means the resources have to share by each and every people in the grid or cloud. Transparent access, the user should not know about this access. He don't know about this. Simply he should aware of the application only, main graphical application only. Dependable access, no. Consistent access, the user should not know about all these access, right? So these are the main features of a grid. Grid architecture, very important, no? Yesterday we learned about the OSI, right? Just I given the names of the layers. What is the physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, and what is it? Presentation layer and application layer, right? So every layer is doing his job based upon the requirement of connectivity in the network. Here also in the grid, which is connection of the networks, they are doing the, we have 4 to 5 layers totally, but these 4 to 5 layers are divided in terms of two main layers. So one is meant for the user applications, another is meant for the network connectivity or storage. Let us see. So the architecture of a grid is often described in terms of layers, each providing a specific function. In general we have, see, the higher layers. In general we have 2 layers. The higher layers are focused on the user centric, about how to give better service to the user. The lower layers are more focused on computers and networks, right? See the architecture now. So it is the architecture. If you observe here, we have 4 layers here: network layer, resource layer, middleware layer, and finally application or serviceware layer. I repeat, network layer, resource layer, middleware layer, and finally application and service layer. If you observe this purple color network layer, network connectivity components, what we have? SONET, SDM, routers, plugs, switches, all this we have. In the resources layer, how the resources are: processing, storage, memory, supercomputers, storage, servers, sensors, input, output devices. Middleware layer, the tools or packages. See, uniform computing access for security authentication, communication services, how the collaboration have to do, how to provide the security, how the information services we have to get, uniform data access. Everybody have to get data uniformly without any deviation from anywhere for any application. Okay, Unix and OGSA hosting. We learn about the OGSA in the next unit. So any operating system have to work. So this is called as a middleware layer. And finally the application and serviceware layer. So here we are, see how simple it is looking. The WhatsApp is very tough software, but for us it's very easy. Just creating groups, saving your contact numbers using. Is there any change in that? Right, very graphical user interface. So these are the 4 layers using in the grid. What are those? I repeat: network layer containing all the connectivity devices, resources layer containing all the memories, hard disks, IO devices, middleware layer all the tools which can be useful in terms of security, communication, uniform sharing, all this, accessing, application serviceware layer, all the main applications for the end users, right? So bottom layer is network layer which assures the connectivity for the resources in the grid. On the top of it lies the resource layer made up of actual resources that are part of a grid. Such as, what are the resources we have? Computers, storage systems, electronic data catalogs, even sensors such as telescopes or other instruments. Third one, middleware layer provides a tool that enable various elements. So what are the tools which can enable servers? Storage. Of course we have storage, but how to get the storage? How to connect to the system? It's a big question, right? We need software there, software tools we need. Those tools are available in that. So this can be called as a brain. So without software, can you able to execute a computer? No, not possible. Like that only. And finally, the highest layer of the structure is application layer, which include different user applications to avail the service of the grid and cloud. Right? For example, science, engineering, business applications in terms of websites along with the development toolkits. Right. So this is another way of another representation of this grid architecture I found in the internet. Okay. See this. So with this, we have to write both architectures, architecture 1, architecture 2. Mandatorily, you have to write in the examination both architectures: network layer, resource layer, what is it, middleware layer, and final application layer. Here see this. Here we have 5 different layers: fabric layer, connectivity layer, resource layer, collective layer, and application layer. The fabric layer is the one which controls all the things, nothing but the fabrication layer. One extra layer here. See, controlling things locally, access to controlling of resources. Connectivity has network layer, resource same layer. It is like middleware layer only, same. All the tools, see, middleware layer, if you observe this. Coordinating multiple resources, ubiquitous infrastructure services, apps, distributed services, same, tools. And application layer is application users. Right, ma? So if you observe these TCP/IP layers, here it is going to use data link layer, it is going to use internet transport layer, and finally application layer. Right? So this is about grid concept, grid architecture and this connectivity. I have given the notes regarding this, the same diagram here: fabric, connectivity, resource, collective, application. Right? No deviation, but I found it is good to see this, so I given to you. It is the notes for you, that is same. No need to explain. Self-explanatory it is. Okay. So in the next class we learn about the last topic, grid services or elements of the grid, I can say. So till then, please go through the videos one or two twice. Try to observe the content. Okay. So take care. Bye.